look at this first example here, we have a single term that has a variable. That tells us extracting the square root is a useful strategy here. So we're going to isolate that variable completely. We'll divide both sides by 16. And then we can extract the square root. When we extract the square root, we get x is equal to, we have to take into consideration both the positive and negative root. The square root of 25 is 5, the square root of 16 is 4, and so that is your solution. When you write your answer, again, start with the least, followed by the greater of the solutions, and so this would be how you would enter this online. All right, for the second problem, again, when you look at this, you have this single binomial that has the variable. There's no other variables in the problem. So you can solve by isolating that binomial, already done, extracting the square root. When we do, we get the expression x minus 1 is equal to, the positive and negative have to be considered. The square root of 8 can be simplified. What perfect square factor can you remove from 8? This is 4 times 2. The square root of 4 comes out as a 2, and the other 2 stays inside the radical. And now when we isolate our variable by adding 1 to both sides, that rational part needs to be written first. So 1 plus or minus 2 root 2. There's your answer. Rewrite it with the least of the two solutions first, 1 minus 2 square root 2, followed by 1 plus 2 square root 2. And that is your solution. Just this single term with the variable, we look to isolate that. The way that we can get x completely by itself here is we would multiply both sides by a 2 to get rid of the half, divide both sides by a g to get rid of this factor g, and you're left with x squared is equal to 2 times s all over g. Once we get this completely isolated, we can extract our square root. When we extract the square root, we have to take into consideration the positive and negative root. So you have root 2s over root g. Can we leave a radical in the denominator of a fraction? No, so what do we need to do? We rationalize, multiply top and bottom by the square root of g, and that gives us our solution plus or minus the square root of 2gs all over root g times root g, which is g. And so there would be your answers. Start with the least, negative square root 2gs over g, followed by the positive square root of 2gs over g. And so that would be your solution for this last problem.